Bombay Film House. I was there in the last week of September composing music for one of their documentaries. This recording was one of the last projects in line for me before my long walk. I wanted to get done with this as soon as possible, spend a week with Sahitya, and return back to my plan. While I was busy recording in the studio on September 30, Sahitya called me up in the noon. I could not answer her then, but later at around 30 past 2, I took a break to return her call. I don't feel good, Ray. Could you spare some time for me? I feel like visiting Ajja's place in Madikeri. Please don't say no, she said. Hey, it's okay, Ray. Then I'll wrap up everything by tomorrow and we will go to Madikeri. We will stay at Ajja's place for 1 week. Listen, can we go this evening? But please don't say no. I have never asked anything like this before. Sahitya was pleading like a small child, and I have never seen her doing this. It was enough to keep all my commitments aside, make some arrangements and say, okay, get ready, I'll be there in 2 hours. I managed to call up orchestra musicians, technicians, and shared my work with them. I paid some money to our studio manager Satish Reddy and left from there. 4 p.m. dot. My car was in front of Sahitya's home in JP Nagar to pick her up. Without losing a second, she sat in my car. Let's leave right away. She sounded anxious and annoyed. We left JP Nagar at 4:12 p.m. and stopped only at 7 o'clock at Srirangapatna. You won't believe, we never spoke a single word until then. Even I was busy on my phone coordinating with the studio. We stopped by a small tea stall that was more like a hut, covered by plastic sheets, flex and old banners. Sahitya likes it. A glass of tea with a bun, especially on the roadside. It's our habit on our long drives to stop for a tea and bun. She would enjoy dipping the bun in the tea and finish it all more than sipping it. Oh wait, she won't stop there. Her joy completes after rubbing the warm tea glass on her cheeks and neck. I always observe it silently. But this time she didn't do it. She was lost somewhere else. I finished my calls and sat in front of her on the rock slab. Why does our madam look a little dull today? I asked. The answer was in her tears. Hey, what happened, Sahitya? Did I do something? Why are you crying? I asked. Nothing. I was trying to calm myself in this cold breeze. She smiled. I got a call from studio again and I went ahead to answer it. While I took close to half an hour to return, Sahitya wasn't there on her chair. I checked for her in the car and couldn't find her anywhere. I called her up and she answered. I found a small temple close by. I'll be there in few. Just don't bother. I'll come back, she said. Well, I sat in my car and relaxed with Dara Bendre's Bhavagita. I sang along the tunes of my favorite ones. And I could see her walking towards the car. There she comes. But now with a little glow on her face, sindhura on her forehead, jasmine hem draped over her open hair, fresh and vibrant she looked. I was watching her from the rearview mirror as she walked towards the car. Shall we? I asked. Yes, of course, she answered and sat next to me. Oh, the fragrance of jasmine of her hair, just passing by my nose. It was amazing. Ask all your questions now. I will answer them one by one, she said, and I nodded at it. It seems that while cleaning the house, Rajiva has got a lot of your father's belongings and we are going to Madikeri to collect them all, she said. Sahitya's parents owned a hotel in Kolkata while she spent her childhood with her Ajja in Madikeri. When my father wanted to construct a hospital, her Ajja was the first person to invest in it. Colloquially, people address Ajja as Nayaka and his house as Nayakaramane. Even I did my schooling in Madikeri. That too with this girl in the same school. Her Ajja and my dad were very dear and close to each other. Though we were from different religion, caste and culture, they never mattered to us. We were as if we never were different, and we are the same even now. Rajiva was a helper in Nayakaramane, or the Ajja's house. He was the first villain in those days for our love story. Yeah, and that's a story for some other time. After Sahitya finished telling about Rajiva's finding my dad's belongings in their house, I asked her, were all those tears and mood swings by any chance for this reason? Oh, don't connect one with the other, you idiot. Tears were just to relax me. I'm fine now. And after you came, I was relaxed. I very well knew that even if you are here with me, all your mind is in those music notes. She laughed. A woman's heart and a man's ire. No doubt they are unsolvable puzzles. We reached Ajja's house by 11 in the night. Sahitya was tired and she slept soon, while I got fresh and sat outside sipping coffee. Ajja was reading a book and did not even respond to my namaste. I think he was too involved in his book. It started to rain and Rajiva left from there on his bike before it was too late. I was waiting for Ajja to finish his book so we could talk for some time, but he was lost in his world. It was 12 already and I went inside to sleep. But Sahitya woke up annoyed. This time it was not me. She was yelling at Ajja. How many times have I said to keep these cats away, Ajja? They don't even let me sleep now. Are you even listening? Look at them crawling around my bedsheet, licking my toes. I am fed up with this house. Ajja, you won't listen to me. She started again, and she was successful in bringing back Ajja to this world. By then I fell asleep and I don't quite remember what happened. The next morning was a beautiful one. It was Madikeri, far from the city, a heaven on the earth. I went with Rajiva to our house to check on the belongings he had found. 27 diaries, my mom's nail polish, her pictures, her wedding saree, peacock feathers, my dad's poems. I find so many of these. It was nostalgic, but at the same time stinging. Kind of an emotional cocktail for me. It left me tongue-tied. We then roamed around Madikeri and returned to home by the dusk. Ajja was feeding the cats by then. Rajiva cooked snacks for us while Sahitya, Ajja and I sat to talk. Your father had this madness about roaming the country. Just like you. But I had talked to him not to do so. Ajja started again. I looked at Sahitya as Ajja talked to me about my long walk. She stayed silent. You listen to me now. I am not saying this is impossible. But 3,500 kilometers walking alone, it is disturbing me. You may not believe in fortune, God, prayer, but we do. I stopped your father when he was up to something like this. He listened to me for the first time. But the second time, he did not listen to any one of us. And you know what happened to him? I am planning to get you both married the next year. If you get into all these things, what about her? Have you given it a thought? His words went on and it never stopped. I felt offended by this endless rattle. Come what may, I am not stepping back. Don't do this with me, Sahitya. Don't try to bring him and talk me out of this. I am not backing out. I squawked at Sahitya endlessly, but she remained silent. The next morning, that is on October 2nd, they all took me to Bhagamandla, a place a few hours from Madikeri. I think it was for some puja. I, Sahitya, Ajja and Rajiva left very early in my car. I think it was at around 6 a.m. But the whole journey was annoying. Thanks to Ajja and for his continuous speech to persuade me out of my plan. I lost it now. parked my car aside and, Ajja, please stop it. I am not going there to die. And yeah, if it is about Sahitya's marriage, if I don't return, find her someone else and get her married. I yelled at Ajja. I did not mean, but I couldn't stop myself. A weird silence haunted after this. Sahitya looked at me and walked me out of the car along with her. She calmed me and said, Listen, Ray, I can live without you. But these people can't. They have seen us together from our childhood. And it's fixed in their mind about our marriage. Please don't talk like this in front of them. They won't take it. I can. And yeah, I never said anything to Ajja about your plan. It was your brother. But I can promise you one thing. I will stop everything that will stop you from your pursuit. I mean it. I was speechless. I felt guilty about my behavior with her. I could feel the warmth of my blood gushing through my veins across my skull, making me think, was I nothing at all but a stubborn rock? I could hear my mind shouting it aloud. We sat in the car. It didn't take me long to realize how worse the situation had gotten to be. Ajja was much like my father. I wouldn't have behaved like this with my father. I wanted to apologize to Ajja. Listen, son, I know you won't step back. But if you really want to go, promise me one thing. I could see Ajja from rearview mirror. His eyes were wet. He was wiping his specs with his cotton kurta. Before Ajja could continue to talk, a speeding jeep had bumped into our car and there was nothing else but blackout. Airbags popped out and they saved me and Sahitya, but Ajja couldn't take this shock. A tall name of Nayak Ramane fell apart in a small accident. Ajja died in front of my eyes. October 2nd, 2015. A black day.